Arguably the most difficult position in all of sports, being an NHL goaltender isn't for the faint of heart, as the masked men league-wide have the most pressure on their shoulders mentally. However, on the flip side, they have, at least at the same time, the greatest control when it comes to a game's outcome. In this video, we're going to go over a number of goalies that haven't had the best starts so far. We'll go over things such as stats, the team's overall outlook, and each goalie's present situation. And with that, here are the top 6 worst goalies of the current season so far. Saying that things haven't went as planned in Edmonton is an understatement. For example, prior to the current campaign kicking off, the odds for the Oilers to win the Stanley Cup were the second highest. However, if we look at the teams above and below them, alike on the list, well, none of them have a record that is worse. While the San Jose Sharks have been having a disaster of a season, that was more expected. The Oilers have been just as bad. Looking at the team, it's no secret that they've been having struggles in multiple areas. Unfortunately though, the flaw that's been most noticeable for GM Ken Holland has been the net, as Jack Campbell was recently put on waivers by the same man who signed him to a lengthy 5-year, $25 million deal. After being largely inconsistent last season, Campbell was allowed a 5-game sample size regarding performance. And within that 5-game spread, well, Soup, as he's called, wasn't exactly putting up Vezina caliber numbers. With a 1-4-0 record, Campbell allowed 4 or more goals in all but one game he played in. This resulted in the netminder finishing out with a .873 save percentage and a 4.5 goals against average. To take it even further, his goals saved above expected is sitting at a -3.8. Campbell's situation could turn out to have a similar ending as Cal Peterson's did this offseason. Peterson was signed to a 3-year, $5 million contract and went on to underperform. After going on waivers and playing in the minors last season, he was eventually traded to the Flyers in a deal involving 3 teams. Regardless, the main concern here is Campbell's game. Hopefully, spending time with the Bakersfield Condors will help him find it. Speaking of Cal Peterson, it's been more circumstance than anything that's allowed for him to be called up from Lehigh Valley. Due to Carter Hart's injury, Philadelphia has been searching for some stability in net. Another goalie that's been manning the crease for Philly is Swedish netminder Samuel Ersson. Now, largely due to his age and inexperience, it's kinda unfair to label him the worst of the worst just yet. Therefore, even though his save percentage is the worst league-wide at .830, we're going to cut the 25-year-old a little slack in this case. After playing in a handful of games, the goaltender only has a single win to show for his efforts, with a 1-3-1 record. His save percentage was also below .800 in 2 of those contests as well. And to top it all off, his most recent loss came at the hands of the San Jose Sharks, a team that, prior to puck drop in San Jose, hadn't won a single game all season. However, after only 19 shots against, Ersson surrendered 2 goals throughout. Also, his goals saved above expected is currently the 3rd worst in the league with a -6.4. As I mentioned before, considering how young he is and that he's played in less than 20 games, I think it's unfair to say that he can't be better than this. For now, he and Cal Peterson will be trying to hold down the fort, per se, until Hart's return to form. Last season for the Sabres ended on a rather positive note. Sure, the team didn't make the playoffs, but they came the closest to making it than they had in a really long time, as Buffalo ended up tying the Pittsburgh Penguins with 91 points, which was one shy of what the Florida Panthers finished with. Unfortunately though, Buffalo started the season with a struggle. Tage Thompson took a minute to find his rhythm, as his team took 5 games to get a win in regulation. However, as things have turned around to a degree in Western New York, the net has been a different story. Sure, the team has managed to get 6 wins in regulation, but when we take a look at the goalie tandem, it doesn't exactly hold up in comparison league-wide. Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen is sporting just below a .900 save percentage at a .899 and a 2-3-1 record. More importantly, his tandem partner Devin Levi also has been struggling. Levi, after playing in a handful of games, has only been able to record an above .900 save percentage on one occasion. He's also rocking a -2 when it comes to goals saved above expected. Knowing that he's only 21 years of age, however, gives Levi plenty of time to perfect his game and learn how to cope with some adversity. As most of us know, there's not many NHL forwards or defensemen that have had contrasting seasons to the degree that goalies often do, unless your name is Jonathan Huberdeau. In all seriousness, comparing Gustafsson's performance with the Wild this season and the last would be just that, a contrast. The Gus Bus, as he's known, put up some impressive numbers last campaign that involved recording a .931 save percentage and a 22-9-7 record. While playing just a sliver less of games than Marc-Andre Fleury, the netminder had a 24.2 goals saved above expected, which was 7th league-wide. Therefore, it makes sense as to why GM Billy Guerin decided to sign Gustafsson to a 3-year extension valued at $11.25 million. Unfortunately, though, as I alluded to, the goaltender hasn't seemed like himself this season so far. With the 4th worst save percentage league-wide at a .871, Gustafsson is sporting a losing record following 7 games played. And unsurprisingly, he also has the 2nd worst goals saved above expected with a -6.7. There is some hope, however, that he could still rebound. His shutout he had against the Florida Panthers came about following 41 saves in his first game played on the season. Therefore, it's possible that he could regain some confidence here soon before it's too late. With Jack Campbell now out of the mix in Alberta, the bulk of the responsibility in net has been transferred to Stuart Skinner's shoulders. After proving himself with a 50-game sample size last campaign, Skinner went on to secure the starter position, while recording a .914 save percentage and a 2.75 goals against average. Skinner was able to give his team the stability that allowed for them to enter the postseason. Sure, it takes a team to win, but now we're seeing firsthand at how crucial it is for a team's success to have quality goaltending. However, Skinner hasn't been close to resembling the goaltender that made the All-Star game earlier this year. Currently possessing the 3rd worst save percentage amongst his peers with a .854, Skinner has only been able to secure 1 win in regulation. Even more troublingly, the netminder also has the worst goals saved above expected league-wide with a -8.4. Knowing that Calvin Pickard has recently been called up from the AHL, Skinner could have competition brewing here in nets. It's hard to believe that around 7 months ago, the Toronto Maple Leafs won a playoff series. For some teams, this is and has been the norm, and nothing major. But for Toronto, it was a long time coming. By saying that, I mean more than 20 years coming. Therefore, as the season commenced, expectations were even higher than usual regarding the team's success. And in Toronto fashion, the team has fans and media, both in shambles, as they've went 6 consecutive games now without a win in regulation. Sportsnet also unloaded a troubling stat, revealing that the Maple Leafs have now tied a franchise record by allowing 4 or more goals in 7 consecutive home games to begin a season. This is something that hasn't been done in nearly half a century. While not everything that happens to a team is a goalie's fault, well, we can definitely say that the goaltending hasn't exactly helped things. Ilya Samsonov, the goalie given the reins in net over the offseason, signed a show-me-style 1-year deal with the Leafs. However, his struggles began as soon as the official season kicked off for Toronto. Even though his team was able to net enough goals to secure a W, the netminder still allowed 5 goals in after only 24 shots and finished with a .72 save percentage in results. His worst performance yet came against rival Tampa Bay. Following just 4 shots, Samsonov allowed 3 goals in throughout, resulting in his ultimate transfer from the net to the bench before the first intermission. As hard as it is for fans to watch, it's obvious that Samsonov has lost his confidence between the pipes. While Wall has had sparks of brilliance in the crease, he's also had his own struggles as well. This, paired with Samsonov's skid into mediocrity, hasn't exactly helped matters in Leafland. With a -5.1 goals saved above expected, Samsonov will hopefully be able to find his game sooner rather than later. In conclusion, again, being an NHL goalie is such a hard job. It's a cutthroat business that demands results. With that being said, every name on this list demands respect just for making it into the show. If you enjoyed this video, I'd really appreciate it if you'd subscribe, and if you haven't, I routinely am touching on NHL news, trade talk, and more. If you're already subscribed and consuming my content regularly, I'd like to invite you to support me by joining my Patreon. With plans that start at just $1 a month, you'll receive perks such as video previews, monthly shoutouts, and more. Simply click the link below to get started. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all next time.